Welcome to Uncovering the Forgotten Business Strategies in the Bible. What we're going to be going over today is one of the most critical strategies that I believe that has been overlooked when discussing how to not only preserve your business during the highs, but also to save your business during the lows. Now, here's a little secret that we're going to be revealing in this video. The good times are typically what kills your business. And I'm going to display that here in a Bible story, but we're also going to talk about some tactical strategies on exactly what you can do in business during the ups and during the downs to make sure that this does not happen to you. Guys, John Hiley here. Welcome to the Kingdom Power Life YouTube channel, where we focus on taking the kingdom of God and implementing it in our lives, drawing power from the Lord Almighty, because as it says in Matthew 6:33, is seek the kingdom of God and all his righteousness, and all things shall be added to you. So this channel is all about seeking the kingdom of God and actually walking it out in your life. So let's go ahead and jump over into this Bible story before I give you a tactical breakdown of exactly how to apply this in your life. All right, so let's talk about Genesis 41, 33 through 36. Now, this is where Joseph had obviously went through all of these different trials and tribulations, and he got to the point to where they needed him to interpret a dream. And how this all came about was Joseph was interpreting dreams in prison, and he actually interpreted a dream for the what we would call today the lead chef of Pharaoh, and also interpreted a dream of the cupbearer. And they ended up killing the lead chef, and the cupbearer ended up going back to the Pharaoh within 3 days. And Pharaoh has this dream. And Pharaoh sees what is the equivalent of these cows out in a pasture. And long story short, it all came together in such a way where Joseph got called to interpret these dreams, because the Pharaoh had all of these wise men and none of them could interpret the dreams. So when Joseph heard Pharaoh's dream, he told Pharaoh that they were going to have 7 years of abundance, and then they were going to go into 7 years of famine. So he actually advised Pharaoh to put back 1/5 of all the grain that they collected over the next 7 years to stock and have a surplus for the 7 years of famine. Now, guys, listen. This actually has a lot to do with what is happening currently right now in business. Okay, so there's a lot of businesses in this current economic condition, and I've seen the ebbs and flows in business. I've been in business for my own since 2003. And since 2003, I've literally seen the business go up, I've seen it go down, and I've made some of the common mistakes that most people make today that actually put them out of business. And there's some wisdom in this story, because what Joseph is saying is that do not just spend, waste. Actually, during this time, begin to conserve. And a lot of the world's billionaires, in fact, Warren Buffett is known for saying that, be scared when everything is good. And then when blood hits the streets, that's when you are to be aggressive, that you are to buy, that you are to move into the marketplace. And the truth of the matter is, more businesses go out of business because when things are going good, they think that it's them. They don't factor in the market conditions, and they also don't factor in all the ups and downs that we're going to have in life. So what happens is they start spending, they start going into growth mode, they start scaling and growing their business, and then what happens, they find out that they're actually not that good. And I found that out, that I was actually not that good, that I was in a market condition that facilitated our revenue increase, that facilitated the growth of my business. So what happens When the market does what it's always going to do, it's always going to go up and down. It's the world. The world is going to, you're going to have good times and you're going to have chaos, and you've got to anticipate this, especially if you are new in business, because if you haven't learned this lesson, if you can go through all of the years, it's kind of funny how this correlates with Joseph's story. If you can go through all the years of pain, all the years of suffering, and then you finally get there and you come to find out that it's an outside market condition that is boosting your business. It's a good economy. You happen to be in an industry that's taking off at a particular time. We start to get big-headed and think that it's actually us that's creating this economic boom. And the truth of the matter is that we are riding a wave. And a lot of times, most of the time, that wave is going to crash. So you're much better off building and growing your company during the bad times. And when the good times are going, do not take on long-term debt or long-term responsibility. You're better off taking that during the bad times, my friends. Because what happened with the story of Joseph, when he had told Pharaoh to put back that 1/5 of the grains over the next 7 years, once they went into a famine, Egypt became the Mecca. They sold to everybody. So out of their restriction and their ability to save and to, when good times were happening, they hunkered down. They didn't go overboard with the spending, overboard with the scaling, the growth mode, all of them things. Because if it can be contributed to an outside circumstance, in this case, that they had plentiful rain, they had abundance, that crops were growing, all of these things, they were going to hit a famine. So 7 years of growth hit 7 years of a famine. Now in business, it's not always like this. A lot of times in business, you could like have 4 years of growth and then 4 years where it's just not growing as much. But the 4 years where it's not growing as much is critically important to get everything down during that time. Because what happens is a lot of people and a lot of businesses will do exactly what I'm telling you. What happens to most businesses that go out of business, and they will take on loans, they will take on debt, they will take on too many employees, they will go into bigger facilities, they will spend way too much during the good times, not anticipating that if a market change or a shift or something like that happens, that they're going to be carrying all of this debt, all of these employees, all of the buildings that they bought, all of the fleets that they've got, like everything, they're going to be taking it into a market that is not sustainable for just that. Now, if you did it the opposite way, if you literally did exactly what Joseph told the Pharaoh to do here and put the surplus back, stock something back, be conservative, be frugal, be careful when things are going good, because that can easily be a trap to actually box you in, and when things start to tank, you're going to have to start to make some very hard decisions. And I've been through it. Many business owners that I know have been through it. I spoke to an individual the other night here in my office that is going through it now. And I was able to guide him and give him some guidance on what I've experienced during that time. So what I'm going to do here is give you some tactical steps that you can do to avoid this happening to you. All right, friends, before we jump into the 3 takeaways from this video, the 3 critical things that you're going to want to do to avoid this ever happening to you, guys, if y'all want to get in on the conversation, we have a free Facebook group called Kingdom Power Life. All you got to do is go down into the link, click the button. If you're a member of Facebook, put your name in there, click the button, submit. We're going to let you in. We would love to see you and hear you in on the conversation. All right, friends, so key takeaway number 1, I like to call these daily determined disciplines, is plan for the future by planting seeds today. Now, these are thinking long term, okay? So as you plant seeds today, you are looking for growth 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now. Become a long-term thinker. Short-term thinkers, a good friend of mine said, hey, if you're here to get a quick buck, that's what you're going to get, a quick buck. And there are so many people in business that are in it just for a quick buck. When you need to be thinking long-term, think about steady, consistent growth, because nothing crashes a company quicker than explosive growth. And I know that sounds crazy, and I feel like a lot of you think that you want that. Well, I have had crazy explosive growth that has crashed my entire company before, and I could go into the list of reasons on why this happened. But I'm here to tell you guys, slow, steady, strong, predictable growth is always the best. So identify key areas of long-term growth, such as developing new skills, nurturing relationships, and investing in sustainable projects. Things that will last longer. Invest in that, guys. And also, listen, we all want the marketing. We all want the sales. But literally, you have to be strategic in your fulfillment. You got to be strategic on what the end product, the client and customer gets. You've got to care about that. You've got to get that dialed in, and you got to get it systemized in such a way that when things grow and when things explode, that everything doesn't break. Number 2, avoid overextending during good times. Now, you're having this crazy a good time, explosive growth, avoid long-term debt. Just take into consideration that this may not be you. You know, I know that you're growing, and I know that we're all getting better, but take into consideration that this is an outside market condition, that you could be potentially riding a wave. And an example of that is we had a storm restoration company, and we had a giant storm that came through our area. And taking on long-term debt during a project that may last for 2 years is unsustainable. And a lot of people will take on 30-year debt, 20-year debt, 10-year debt during a 2-year economic boost. So be very careful during these times. If you're going to take on the debt, take it when you can sustain it during the during the downtime, during the time when it's not going so good. Take the debt on then if you need it, but then you will be able to predictably grow, and you will be able to literally save surplus when it comes into the time when the business goes through the roof, when you hit a good economic condition again. So in business, we have ebbs and flows, ups and downs. You've got to literally, when things are going up, you got to be scared a little bit. And when things are down, that's when you actually have the money and you have the resources to actually make things happen, to move things forward, to buy things at a discounted rate. My third takeaway, and that is seize opportunities during downtimes. Guys, I know so many people right now that you could literally buy their whole operation, buy their equipment, and relieve them of all of this stuff that they occurred during a good time, an economic boost, at a fraction of the cost. And, that's just what it is. It is what it is. So you need to seize them opportunities. And you could look at, when the economy is down, look for undervalued assets. You can buy businesses at that time for pennies on the dollar. You can actually, as long as you have the reserve, the saving built up, the capital, the credit, the cash flow, all of them things, you're positioning yourself for growth when the market recovers. So when the market recovers, you're positioning yourself for more growth. And so these are the things that you need to understand when it comes to running a business, because there is nothing worse. I'm just telling you guys, from business owner to business owner. And I know if you're watching this, either you're a business owner or you're thinking about starting a business. Well, there's nothing worse than when you hit a economic boom. And I mean, it just is raining on you. Like God's provision is raining on you. And then all of a sudden, all of that dries up, and you've got all of this long-term debt. You have no idea how you're going to service it. You have no idea how you're going to take care of it. There's nothing worse than being put in that position And a lot of times, that is when people will go out of business. All right, guys, thank you for coming along on this video, uncovering the forgotten business strategies in the Bible. And again, this is one of the most critical things that I see go wrong in a business, and I just hope that that never happens to you. And I hope this video and the wisdom that I've got by being in business, in so many businesses for such a long time, can actually help aid you and give you the wisdom that you need to circumvent that potential pain that could be in your path. All right, my friends, as usual, I'll see you on the next one. If you enjoyed this episode of the Kingdom Power Life, I can assure you that you're going to enjoy the next episode. Also, if you haven't done so already, please subscribe and hit the notification bell as we drop new content each and every week.